Hello, people. Dr. Dub here. It is Tuesday again, and although I have a hard time keeping this to 10 minutes, I think today is pretty much going to be 10 to 12 minutes. Just remember, I sent most of you an email, and we're not going to do Funtastic Friday. This Friday, we're going to look at how we can best prepare our facility to get back into corporate worship. So you be thinking about that, and I don't want you to send to any group email. I want you to send to me personally, and you'll have directions on that on Friday. Let's talk today about the second in our series of when Jesus said, I am. Remember, we talked last week, I am the bread of life. This week, we're going to look at him saying, I am the light of the world. Now, I want to point out something to you. Just very recently, I did one of these messages. I don't know whether it was on Tuesday, Sunday, or Friday. I don't know what. But on when Jesus says, you are the light of the world. Talking to his disciples, talking to us. Now, it is somewhat changed because Jesus is not saying this to us. He is saying it about himself. He is in a conversation in this passage in John chapter 8, verses 12 through 20, with the Pharisees. And they get into this argument, and they deny that he is speaking the truth. And the conversation goes on, and he says, if there are two people who witness, then it is true in a legal, judgmental sort of way. And Jesus says, the Father and I are testifying that I am the light. And so they get into an argument about the Father. So let me read the scripture, and then I'm going to share with you. But be aware, previously, Jesus says, you are the light of the world. You are the salt of the earth. But now he's saying, I am. Again, Jesus spoke to them, the Pharisees, saying, I am the light of the world. One who follows me will not walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. The Pharisees then said to him, you are bearing witness to yourself. Your testimony cannot be true. And Jesus says, even if I do bear witness to myself, my testimony is true. For I know whence I came and whither I'm going. But you do not know whence I came or whither I'm going. You judge according to the flesh, and I, said Jesus, judge no one. Yet even if I do judge, my judgment is true, for it is not I alone that judge, but I and the one who sent me. In your law it is written that the testimony of two men is true. I bear witness to myself, and the Father who sent me bears witness to me. Therefore two. They said to him, where is your Father? And Jesus answered, you know neither me nor my Father. If you knew me, you would know also my Father. These words Jesus spoke in the treasury of the temple, as he taught in the temple, but no one arrested him because his hour had not yet come. I want to talk to you very briefly about three kinds of I ams. First of all, remember when Moses is on Mount Sinai and he is receiving the commandments that are to be given to the people, and Moses says, but who am I to tell them sent me? And out of the burning bush comes these words, tell them that I am sent you. Now, that is a unique use of the word I am. Know that it comes from the root grammatical word of be, to be, being it. And a German theologian that was exiled during the Nazi era, Paul Tillich, used to say that God is being itself. In other words, God is the essence of what it is to be, the essence of what life is. God is a generic term. There are many gods, you understand, but the proper noun for God in the Old Testament, it was several. Yahweh, Jehovah, El Shaddai, those words were the proper names of what the God of the Israelites was called, most certainly Yahweh, from that four-letter word, YHWH, consonants without the vowels. So there is one use of I am. I am sent you. Tell them that I am sent you. Tell them that life itself, being itself, sent you. Now, the other sense of the word I am is in our English grammatical sense. When Jesus says, I am the bread of life, he's using it in a predicate nominative sense. Remember your high school English. A predicate nominative sense. In other words, I is the subject, am is the verb, and then it requires a noun after it. The nominative object, I am bread. So you see the grammatical structure is subject, verb, object. I am the bread of life. Usually the nominative, the noun, is preceded by a or the. I am a bread. I am a player. I am a man. Now, the other one is a predicate adjectival sense. It is a predicate adjective. I am strong. Now, you cannot use, you cannot say I am a strong, I am the strong. It doesn't make sense because strong is not a noun, it is an adjective. Now, Jesus is talking here. I know that's all confusing. Take it from an English teacher who's many years removed, but still's got it stuck up here. Jesus is using it in the predicate nominative sense. I am the light of the world. So it is here that he is talking about, if anyone follows me, that person will not walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. Now, that's a primary context, a sentence of what he's saying. He says, I am the light of the world. One who follows me will not walk in darkness, but will have the light of the world, the light of life. And he goes on to talk about he is the light of the world, and that he is bearing witness to that fact. And in fact, even God the Father makes two, Jesus and God, that are bearing witness to the fact that it is truth, that Jesus is the light of the world. He is saying this in the temple treasury with the Pharisees standing and listening. They are overhearing. He's speaking to them, the Jewish authorities, the Pharisees, the Sanhedrin. And in that temple treasury, it was in the court of women. And if you remember, the first temple court was the court of the Gentiles. They could not move beyond the court of the Gentiles if they were not of Jewish heritage. And then comes the court of women. And the women could not move beyond the court of women if they were indeed female. Now, in the court of women, which is the court of treasury, the temple treasury, there were 13 chests, containers. They called them 13 trumpets because they looked like a trumpet that has been set on its end, and the bell of like a trombone is flaring upward. And people would come and drop their money in those trumpets. And it always made a sound. And you could tell how much a person was giving by the sound that their coin offering made as it fell into those trumpets. Now, let me share this with you. The 13 trumpets were there for the allocated offering. Into the first 2 were dropped the half shekels, which every Jew had to pay towards the temple upkeep, the upkeep of the temple, a maintenance fee for the property of the temple. Into the 3rd and 4th were dropped sums which would purchase 2 pigeons, which a woman had to offer for her purification after the birth of a child. You can read that in Leviticus. I think it's 12, 1 through 10 or something, 12:8. Into the 5th were put contributions toward the cost of the wood, which was needed to keep the altar fire alight. Into the 6th were dropped contributions toward the cost of the incense, which was used at temple services. Into the 7th went contributions toward the upkeep of the golden vessels, which were used at the various special temple services. Sometimes a man or a family set apart a certain sum of money to make a trespass, it was called, actually to make a thank offering. Into the remaining 6 trumpets, people dropped any money which remained after such offerings had been made, or anything extra that they wish to give. That is the surroundings in which Jesus is having this conversation with the Pharisees. He who follows me will not walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. The light of life literally means 2 things. In the Greek, it can either mean the light which issues forth from a source of light, or the light which gives life to men and women. And in this passage, I believe it means both. Just like I am planting some seeds, they're called ice plants, and I foolishly stuck them in the soil and watered them and waited for them to germinate and come up. Nothing came up. And then I read you cannot cover up these ice plant seeds because they need the light to germinate. Just sprinkle them on the ground. And lo and behold, they have germinated and they're coming up. We're going to plant them in our front yard, in our circle, which the voles or moles have made a real mess of this winter. So just like seeds need light to germinate, so men and women and children, we humans need light in order to flower and fully blossom. And without that light, there can be no life. So those are mainly the things I want to share with you today. Jesus said, I am that light. And as the light, he leads us into the future, and we follow in his footsteps, in his, not shadow, because he is the light that casts no shadow. We follow in his footsteps out of the darkness of our life into the light, which is the life of Jesus Christ. I'm going to share with you a song about God's glory to all the nations, because Jesus is the light of the world. God bless you, my friends. I'll see you Friday. Not Fantastic Friday, but we're going to share our hearts and our hopes and our dreams for New Hope Christian Church. Bye-bye. Run the race. Finish well. Amen.
Hear the sound of the nations worshiping